Welcome to the Advanced Coach Practice Call. I am going to bring a few people up. We're going to do some practice coaching. I'm going to answer questions and give feedback. What I want to talk about is coaching is more than mindset. So mindset is amazing. I think we've all experienced it to some degree, and we have seen the potential of it. But here's the problem. How many of you thought a thought this morning, like you thought, I should go work out, or I should send that email. You thought I should wash those dishes, but then you didn't do it. Just put in the chat. Oh, can you chat with each other? Let me make sure you can chat. Yeah, you should be able to. Yeah. What did you think that you didn't do? Because this is the problem with thought work. We have thoughts all day long. The thoughts do not compel us into action. We like thousands of thoughts. I should get up and work out. I should work out right now. I should stop working out. I should work out harder. I should drink more water. I really should eat that salad instead of that Snickers. We think. I should get out of bed at 5 a.m. and get to the gym. Did you do it? I didn't. Thoughts do not compel us into action. And so we have all this training around thought work. Thoughts are not our problem. Thoughts that have emotion tied to them that are anchored in the body. Subconscious thoughts are our problems, not conscious thoughts, not the ones we can see, not the ones we can hear, not the ones that we ignore. And so my body of work is all about advanced mind-body coaching, integrative mind-body coaching, self-healing, getting to the root of the issue. How many of you, let me know in the chat, how many of you have had mindset coaching, thought work, but you still don't have the results that you want? Just say me. That happens to be you. I'm going to show you today why it doesn't work. Yeah, it's a great tool of awareness. Tell me this. How many of you have had like a hypnotherapy session, a past life regression, energy work, a massage work, craniosacral? You've had some sort of healing work and you still don't have the results you want. There's this phenomenon that is all about an addiction to healing. It is like a brain orgasm, like, oh my God. And then you are not compelled to take new actions, so you don't get new results. And so we get addicted to that feel. It's a dopamine hit. When you get release, when you get relief, it's like an orgasm, a real orgasm, like the brain loves pleasure. And it is very pleasurable to have awareness because the mind is hungry for knowing. It's hungry for information. If I turn this camera around, you would see the 700 books on the bookshelf. You would see, if you would look at my book, what do you call it? Audible, you would see hundreds of titles of books. The mind is addicted to knowing. Knowing doesn't give you transformation. Abraham Hicks says, thoughts don't teach. Thoughts don't teach. Thoughts don't teach. Experience teaches. So advanced coaching, mind-body coaching, integrative mind-body coaching, whatever you want to call it, is all about having the subconscious awareness and then integrating the unfelt perception. I know that's a big word. I'm going to show you today. I want you to experience it. I don't want you to know it with your mind. That doesn't work. Changing your thoughts doesn't work. Your thoughts are not a problem. The only time they're a problem is when they're on repeat and they are attached to an emotional signature that keeps you locked down and keeps your nervous system in froze mode. How many of you want to do something big in your business, want to do something big in the world, but you can't take the next step because you freak out? There's this sensation that happens in the body and it shuts down the part of your brain that should be taking action and making decisions. Anybody have that pattern happening? Just say, yep, me. All right. Who is going to be my volunteer today? I want to coach someone and then I want to bring someone on and I want to talk about coaching. I'm going to offer you the opportunity to ask me questions, for me to give you feedback, and for me to show you the power of mind-body coaching, show you the difference between mindset and changing your thoughts and what's actually happening. So raise your hand. If you want to be a volunteer, you get coaching on anything. I don't care what it is. Do we have no volunteers? It's a small group. Come on, guys. Somebody come on. Yes, I'm like, it'd be great if it's someone who knows me. All right. I'm going to bring somebody else up, but I just want to start. I just took the first hand, and I want you to, how many of you are already coaches? Just put coach in the chat if you're already a coach. Even if you're not practicing, just like I know about coaching. Uh-oh. You're going to have, who did I bring on? I don't see you. You have to put your camera on. Deborah, I want to see you. Guys, I'm going to warn you too. Whoever is here that is in Self-Healing Masters, who's here that's in Self-Healing Masters? Who saw the call a couple of hours ago? Anybody? Nobody here? Me, Allison. Allison, was that crazy? We did, I did some coaching. I used to do this all the time, but I have really pulled away from it because I've been doing more business and training. What were your thoughts? Yeah, we blew out the internet. Were you there, Deborah?
Yeah.
What? Tell them. Tell the ones who weren't there what happened. It's good. I'm not kidding you. If y'all knew the electrical devices I go through whenever I'm doing this deeper work, it's really unbelievable.
Yeah, you were grounding somebody with her bringing the spinal fluid down through her body and rooting in and moving energy, pulling energy down. And then all of a sudden, your camera froze and you were bumped off. It was like the energy just.
My work continued for a while, but Mallory is here and hers kicked off we just knocked it all off a circuit. It's crazy. Was that crazy, Allison? This used to happen all the time. I would do consults. I would give them a breakthrough on the phone. The calls would drop on the phone all the time. Anyway, very powerful because we're working beyond the mind. And guys, we are powerful beings. We are creators. And we're always creating our reality. That means, to some degree, you are responsible for the results you have right now. And the sooner you figure that out, the quicker you can get new results. And a lot of people don't want to hear it. I think I screenshot it. I'll send you. I got the message on my end because all of a sudden I just felt like I had gone somewhere very, very far. And it was like, there was a point of coming back and I was like, wait a minute, where's everything at? It's crazy. So fun. All right. What are we going to coach on?
Oh,
it could
actually,
be simple and it could be, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, what you just describes me perfectly. This addicted to knowing, this hoarding information. That was actually the subject of that I had chosen for the priority project, was to organize that. And I've been struggling with it.
Nice.
And,
nice. Can we coach on that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So Deborah joined the priority project 30 days ago, and we were now doing assessments. So we're at the 30-day mark and we're like, let's do an assessment, which is the hardest part of committing to something. This is why we don't want to commit. And this is why we don't want to start anything, because we don't trust ourselves, because we keep quitting, right? Oh, are you frozen?
Yeah. No. Am I frozen?
No, you're back. You're there.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
So the actual circumstance, we're going to use the model. So we're going to use mindset. And then how many here are LCS coaches, or the model? You know Brooke Costello's model. Just let me see how many people. Yes. 3, me. Okay. So I love the model. It's just like this: the think, feel, act. Louise Hay, this has been taught for centuries, years. It's not new. The way Brooke formulated it is new. I'm going to use it, but I'm going to teach you how to manipulate it, how to go between it. Deborah, you have seen me coach before.
Yeah, you actually coached me on one of these calls before too.
Okay. So the circumstance is I joined the priority project. Super clean. We have a receipt so we can prove that you joined. That's how clean the circumstance is. A lot of people get jacked up with circumstances because they put the wrong thing in the C line. Okay. So for those who are new, the C just means there's a circumstance. They hit my car. Someone died. A baby was born. It's just a circumstance. Okay. What are your thoughts about joining priority? And we could even say we're assessing the priority project, but you joined the priority project.
Well,
And your
it's
thought
funny
is,
because, yeah, when I joined, to be quite frank with you, was that I was frustrated with myself. I couldn't get myself to work on what I chose for my priority project. And I was hoping that joining this was going to help me with that. It was almost like I thought you had some magic formula that was going to kick me in the ass because I couldn't get myself to do it.
I absolutely have a magic formula that you have to do. This is true. So, no lie, I have the formula, right?
Yeah.
So, what is your thought about it? I haven't done it yet. Let's first just get with your feelings. So, how are you feeling?
Okay.
Are you disappointed? Are you frustrated? Are you agitated, angry?
It's changed a lot over the last 24 hours. To be really honest with you, that yesterday I was like at a low and I thought about quitting. I was feeling checked out and I did a lot.
Let's coach on that then, because that's where most people
Okay.
are, right?
Okay.
So the feeling is, would low be like, does that feel like disappointment? Does that feel like
Well,
shame?
actually, it's more when I read on the Facebook and I see other people in the group that are making really good progress. And
It's
I'm
so
thinking,
annoying.
I'm like, and I didn't think I had anything to celebrate till today. And I realized I had things to celebrate, but in my
Okay,
mind, it
now
wasn't.
this is all mental, by the way, guys. If you're a coach, I want to show you some things. If you watch, you see her eyes going everywhere, that's her mind. When we are coaching and we want to help clients get results and transformation, we got to get out of the mental part. So that's something for you to notice. There's a lot of thinking going on. Boo, it's no use I coach you on your thoughts. It's useless. We're just going to spin round and round and round and
Yeah.
round. And you are going to jeer all over the place. Jeer means justify, excuse, explain, and rationalize. Do y'all hear her doing those 4 things? Absolutely. So I'm in control of this call, by the way.
Okay.
So I'm going to take her back to the model. We're getting back to business. Can y'all feel how I'm playful? She's on board. I'm not being tough, but she's like, man, she's serious. Like, wait, what's going on? Right. So your mind is kind of like,
Well, what you just said blew my mind because I've been aware that I oftentimes don't look people in the eye and I never realized why. And it probably is because I'm trying to think about the next thing.
most of us
That's
are not
just
in our
really,
body. Most of us are not here because there's trauma here. We've checked out of here. You said it
yeah.
earlier, and that's why I want to do a model on this. You said, I want to check out. I just want to check out. And so that's why I want to run a model on this. So everybody's on board with me. I'm taking it all over the place because this is actually how I teach. We use actual circumstances and we break it apart. We pick it apart so that you can understand what's happening with you, with your client, with your mind, with their mind, so that you can see all of that. Why are you getting emotional? What's happening?
Well, actually, I've been up a good part of the night. I'm also a little sleep deprived right now because I did a lot of emotions were coming up between yesterday and today.
Mm-hmm.
It's been the last 24 hours has been pretty amazing and in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
But now I feel like I really want to move forward.
All right. Perfect time. So
Yeah.
let's run this. We're going to stick with the priority project. And to get even more granular on this, we could say people are celebrating their wins in the priority project. Like
On
we could
Facebook,
go,
yeah.
that's the trigger.
On Facebook, I call.
And just so
Yeah.
you know, there's only 2 reasons why we suffer: judgment and comparison. So anybody who is suffering right now, I can call your names out, anyone on this call. If you are suffering, you can put this to the test. You are judging, comparing someone, something, some incident, what you think should happen, what should happen faster, what didn't happen, what you didn't do. And that is why we suffer. So yes, we do suffer because of our thoughts, but it's because of judgment and comparison due to competition with yourself and others that creates the suffering. I could just take Byron Katie's body of work and say, I'm saying the same thing she's saying in a different way. Okay. So you're still with me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Priority project. Start with the word they. They're all winning. They're killing it. They're like, start with that because that's the actual painful thought.
Well, actually, the painful thoughts kind of like I'm falling behind. I can't keep up. I don't belong. I don't feel like I belong in the group
Yeah.
because I'm falling behind and I can't keep up.
Yeah. Can anybody relate to that? You guys are in business, you're coaches, you're like, you see other people celebrating. I keep talking about money. I put up all these awards. Pretty pissing off, right?
I want to be happy for them, but it feels like a stab in the heart each time.
It's jealousy and envy, which is very painful. I have it too.
I think it's
Like,
more inadequacy. It make it more personal about me. And
don't
comparing
coach
like
yourself.
I
Be
should be
careful.
doing that.
Yeah, you're on a fine line of coaching yourself. So I'm falling behind, which is like they're winning, they're getting it done, and I'm a loser. I don't belong.
Yeah.
I can't keep up. I'm not doing what I should be doing. Something wrong with me, right?
Mhm.
And then you feel inadequate.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you feel inadequate, what do you do?
Suffering from morning to night pretty much lately.
Or just tell me what you did last night. Like when you looked at everybody's wins and you started like,
Yeah, I just kept going through, I was seeing it on Facebook and then I just kept scrolling and wasting time. And I did think about things that I needed to do or that I wanted to do, and I just didn't.
mhm. Okay. So this is
Uh,
perfect. So I went scroll. I was looking for something. I did nothing. Right.
yeah, I
And
just
then
really
I'm
wanting to
curious
feel
about
better.
this. Did your mind start gathering evidence of how inadequate you are? Did it start like checking off, I should have done this, I didn't do that? Oh,
Yeah,
this is
actually, yeah, because as I was going through Facebook, now I'm really looking. Yeah, I was kind of my mind was kind of focused because, and I guess because the algorithms, I see more of other coaching things now, so it's like really that evidence is just popping up in my feed all the
like
time.
salt in the wounds.
Yeah. And yet I stay on Facebook, so obviously I must be looking for evidence.
It's okay. So this is part of the explaining and understanding. This, I'm not sure if you guys have heard me talk about this, but it's on the podcast, it's on YouTube. So I'm just going to review it. If you need to know more, you're welcome to go and look there. So let me tell you about the nature of the mind. The mind is like a projector. When you were in fifth grade, the projector sat on a desk and it went on a wall. They put words right here and it displayed it. It projected it, right? So everyone can see. That's the nature of your mind. So your brain, it's like the triad. The brain has three things: pleasure. So it's like, oh, chocolate, buffer, right? Instant. So very quick and efficient. Familiar. Familiar is safe. Quick and efficient is the dopamine hit. And pleasure is the addiction, right? That's why there's so much porn. That's why there's so much like alcohol. Like it's an addictive, like to the brain. So is procrastinating. Because when you put off, it's like, we'll be safe. But if you do it, I won't be safe anymore because that's not familiar. It's going to take a long time and it sure as hell ain't fun. So you see what I'm saying? This is not you.
Absolutely.
This is you not understanding the most powerful organ in your body. So the brain has these three things: instant gratification, ease, and pleasure. The mind is like the evidence stacker. It reports back. So you have this idea, you have this thought, and there's this. So can you imagine it's them against you? Safety, survival.
Can I imagine what?
Can you imagine it's them against you, your brain and your mind mechanism against you, your soul, your personality? So let me just explain. It's almost like it's going berry picking. Brain's like, I'm hungry. Mind's like, I know where the blueberries are. Report back. Decision. So that not understanding this, which is the second step to the punchline approach, which is the framework I use in coaching, is what's hanging up you and your clients. If you understood this, then you would be able to sit in the audience and you would watch it play out on the stage, and it wouldn't activate your nervous system. So what's happening is you don't know this, and you're getting a visceral response, and your mind is tracking a time when you felt that way before, and it's reporting it back, danger, 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 and you freeze. That's how all this works together. I like to call it the neurology. Everybody's following me, or did I lose half of you? You're still here, so that's a good sign. Everybody's following? Are you fascinated? So interesting. We are here. Okay. So when you say they're ahead, here it goes again, I'm behind, I don't belong here either. Because you dropped into this community loving me and the mentors and you're all like loving this. And then you had one thought, and I'm telling you what happened. That thought, subconscious thought, has an emotional signature in your body. It activated and it got hooked in, and it went into the loop, and it goes into the loop, and then it grows a muscle, and it becomes the new familiar pattern because it's the old familiar pattern. What is the brain like? Familiar. Is it easy? Yeah, it's a habit, second nature, grained in. Don't even know you're doing it. Got it?
It does
See what's
feel
happening?
like autopilot.
I know it's crazy because we don't understand it. So they are ahead. I'm falling behind. Here I am, Miss Loser Me. This is when it happens. And now you feel inadequate. But you feel inadequate because you have unmonitored beliefs. That's more important than a thought. There's a difference between a thought and a belief.
Mm-hmm.
The belief is ingrained and it's attached to the emotional signature. There's a pattern. Okay. And then you have that visceral chemical familiar. This is the bad. Look out. It's coming. It's doomsday. Oh my. And your brain, your mind went on a scavenger hunt. How many familiar situations did it bring up? The time when I was in 8th grade, last year, in the coach training, the last time I did, and it just kept gathering evidence, probably a dozen situations to prove, because the mind wants to know. And that fucker always wants to be right.
I used to even have nightmares about falling behind and not keeping up, and just random things, but always that same theme.
Yeah. Does it feel the same? Same feeling? When you panic?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fascinating.
And this feeling of kind of panic, like like something bad's gonna happen because I'm falling behind, like I'm gonna have to explain it, or like I'm in trouble kind of feeling.
I know. Yo, this is why it's so hard when you're working with trauma clients and you have to risk the relationship. A lot of you, Allison, do I not risk the relationship? Allison gets called down with me. I'm like, boo, listen, like it's not easy. And so what happens when you have this wounding is you look at authority, and I come in as a coach as authority. And then people start having trouble with you as the coach. They're mean. They're not compassionate. They're not empathetic. They don't hear me. They don't understand me. No, boo. Anybody was on the call last Tuesday? I understand you very well. I don't believe you, and neither should you. And so I'm fighting for your potential, and you want to believe your limitation. You hired me to fight for your potential. I will not fight for your limitation. And because that is not familiar, comfortable, easy, you put up a wall of resistance, and you'd rather be wrong. You're right? You'd rather be right than be happy. You'd rather be right than be free, because that would mean you're not inadequate. Such a shit show.
Wait, if I'm right?
That's right. If you're right,
that means
that is
I'm
your
not
resistance
inadequate?
way of proving you are right.
Yeah.
So because you're up against the inadequacy. So your brain needs to prove you are. So it continues to believe it, and
I
it's
got
not. And I see it, and I'm saying it, and you can't see it, and you can't say it because you're in the loop. This is deep, by the way. So if some of you are not following, just know that's okay. We're going to keep breaking it down. She might not get it in the first moment.
No,
so it's
I'm
my
getting it now.
job.
I didn't quite. Yeah, when you said it the second time, it made total sense to me.
All you got to do, this residue lives in your body. Notice how you hold your breath. All you got to do is go and grab it with the inhale and release it with the exhale. And what's going to happen is it's going to start clearing the pathway to something else. But we are so afraid to be wrong that we will continue to know what we know, which is not helping us. Because that's what the mind does. That's the nature of the mind needs to know. This is why so many of you won't start coaching. You want to know everything. That is your mind. You will know more when you start coaching, not waiting. Waiting is the addictive pattern to safety.
That's what I've been doing. Plus, I've been gathering more information, trying to learn, just like your podcast on the over-consuming. That's exactly what I've been doing. And it's been safety.
Yeah.
That's why my priority project is dealing with papers and filing, is because it's been like information feels like safety to me, and I can't seem to stop it. It's like, I realize there's nothing physically keeping me from throwing it all out, but there's no way.
It's fear. And let me tell you the two reasons that we have fear. Someone told you should be afraid, or you experienced this before and you think you should be afraid. That's the first. The second is you don't actually know. You don't have the information, the education, or the experience. And so you're waiting or looking for information. It's one or the other. So I'm afraid I won't know.
Both.
And I should be afraid because someone told me I should be afraid. And what I experienced before is telling me I should be afraid. So that's the only two things. So what happens is when we're in fear, the alcohol, like if you were an alcoholic, the addiction to feeling better is waiting. Because if I wait, I'm safe for this moment. Mm-hmm. And then you end up waiting a lifetime, and it's not safe and it's not comfortable. But it's because no one's I don't think many of us have someone who is supporting our potential, who's willing to have this conversation that I'm willing to have, and this effort. And my coaches are willing to, because I've taught them how to do this, because the coaching industry has been diluted. And it's like a lot of giving evidence and a lot of what I know, and because they're letting the mind lead. That's what I want to get people away from. I want the data, the information. I want that to lead, the autopilot part. We want this to become your subconscious, that knowing. That's where the integration and the embodiment matter. Knowing it here is like the person, you all know the person that walks around town preaching, telling you scriptures? You all know that person? That is what most coaches are doing with mindset. They're walking around sounding like the coach that trained them. Where's the person who was with me on the call last night? Is she here? No. That's what I could hear the words of the teacher, and it wasn't in the correct context in order for it to actually make an impact. It was just the memorized words of the teacher. It was the scripture. It was the script. It was the indoctrination without integration. But once it's integrated, it becomes your lens. It becomes how you see everything. And that's why I want to offer this coaching, these sessions, so that you can see this, so you can take that and you can become it, and then you can lead through inspiration.
That sounds wonderful.
So let's get back to this. Priority project. Your thought is, I'm falling behind. I feel inadequate. You start wasting time.
I'm falling behind. I can't. Yeah, it's more like I'm falling behind. It's not even keeping up. At this point, I feel like I'm
falling behind,
further and further behind.
I feel inadequate. And so I waste time on social media. I think about how I'm falling behind. I think about the project that I want to do, and I don't do it. That is what you told me. So that's the action. And so your result is not doing it, right? Your result is they go and you fall, which is exactly what you're thinking. It's always going to match. Your thought and your results are always going to match. But here's the tricky part. That result is not because of what they did. It's not because of who you were or who you are. That result is because of what you did and what you didn't do. You're giving credit to all kinds of other stuff. The only thing that should be getting credit is the action line. You either did it or you didn't. But your mind doesn't want to see that part, doesn't want to take the action because it believes all the other stuff. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's almost like it's probably not surprising that I have always had a problem with the idea of being accountable. That's actually a triggering word for me. And one of the things I've realized is that I've used shame as kind of like an accountability tool, to try to force myself into action.
Yeah, it's like if I can sit here, waste time, and think shitty thoughts about myself, that's going to change it. And so it's like you're addicted to like punishing yourself. It's like someone needs to come and punish me because punishment is going to compel me. Because it's what we've seen. It's what we heard. It's like, let's shame them in front of everyone. Let's like stick their nose on the chalkboard. Let's make sure everybody hears us correct them, which is why group coaching is so triggering, because then that defense comes up towards me. Like, oh yeah, here she is. She's shaming. It's so hard to be a coach. I try to get my people like, raise your right hand when you feel shame, when you feel humiliated, when you feel like I'm attacking you, you need to be transparent and I will show you what's really happening. It's the samskara, it's the memory in the body that's reacting to that. Yeah. It's not me. I'm just the first person to fight for your potential, and you're not familiar with that. I'm like, why would I want you to keep believing that? I want you to like get out of that. Why would I hurt you? Because you believe
I don't see it that way. I actually find you feel. I
not
feel
me.
You're
don't take me personally. No, don't take me.
No,
I'm talking about
but
I mean,
when somebody's direct, it actually provides safety to me.
Comfortable, right? Oh my God, me too. I hate shit sandwiches. Let's tell them something great and then rip them apart and then tell them something sweet. I'm like, I hate that. Don't flatter me. I have a hard time receiving even someone telling me something because I'm like, what's coming? Right?
It's true.
Yeah. How's it feel now as you're seeing it? So why didn't you get things done in the priority project? Why didn't it get done? How are you responsible for the result that you got?
Well, the inaction in the actions that I took, which were mostly, the actions I took, if anything, were creating more limitation than were helping, because not only was I not getting it done, but now I was shaming myself and judging myself. And
so everyone who's here, repeat after me or write it on paper. My actions are responsible for my results. What you did contributed to your results.
Yeah.
So let's all go on Facebook for 4 hours. Did that get the closet cleaned out? Let's go for another 4 hours. We're going to go on Instagram this time. Did that get the kitchen drawer cleaned out? Did that get the papers filed? No, the thing that you did, the action that you took is the reason that you got the result. All this other stuff, the reason why, whoever's fault, because of that is just the mind feeding you another one. It's just what it does.
My mind was telling me that there's more important things to do than to file papers.
You literally just did not open the cabinet and start pulling out papers, period. You made a decision and you chose what you didn't want instead of choosing what you wanted. That's it. And so when you're helping your client with awareness is only the first step. This that we're doing right here is the second step. It's the you. In my book, it's PUNCH. This is the you. We're unpacking, unraveling to understand the unconscious habits and behavior, unconscious dialogue. We're going to stay here. We're just plucking it apart. Eventually, we're going to get to what the actual root cause is. Then we're going to change the habit and behavior. So whenever we change a thought or we change the habit and behavior or we do affirmations, We bypass and we skip the work. We skip the understanding. Your mind is never going to agree with you if it doesn't understand. But if it understands, it'll get on board because it's going to understand. It wants the results. It wants to be smart. It wants to know. It wants to figure it out. And y'all, listen, become me. Come through the training. Come to the call. We're starting up. I'm making an offer to you today. We're starting something called My Coach Practice. And it is just practice. Once a week, we're just going to practice. We're going to break session support. We're going to answer questions. We're going to do feedback. We're going to do exactly what we're doing today. You're going to get me and you're going to get my mentors who I trained so that you can get perspectives from all of us. We all do something different and brilliant and things you've never seen before. And so we just want to give feedback and sessions. We want to break it apart. We want to give you the understanding so that you can become a better coach. It's $97 a month, by the way. It's super, super affordable. We just want to have a container that allows people to start coaching. And then when they run into a trouble, they can bring it. So we'll do role playing. So if Deborah was working with a client who was doing what she's doing, that's what she would present. She'd say, Kim, I'm working with a client. Her name is Betty. This is what Betty does. And I would say, okay, you turn into Betty and I'm going to coach Betty. And so it's role playing, it's feedback, it's engagement and interaction and it's going to be amazing. Some of you have been doing this with me already. We have Self-Healing Masters. A lot of you are watching me coach in Self-Healing Masters. That's a great resource too, because you watch and then you learn. So they're both available. One's 99, one's 97, not a big deal. But what I really want to do is create, I want to get thousands of coaches out there and do honor to the coaching world, because a lot of you suck. I watch the coaching and you have an agenda. You're trying to get people to believe something that you believe. You're trying to feel confident about what you do, and you're not breaking this down so they have the understanding so they can create the change. Does that make sense? Anybody here that's actually been either done the 10-week intensive or advanced coach training with me, any of that stuff? What have you noticed about being in another coaching world and being in this coaching world? And then we're going to get some feedback on this actual session right now from Deborah. And anyone who's watching, do you have any questions? Because I'm happy to answer them. I do have a hard stop at 4:00. I have a call. So I do have a hard stop. So I want to take the time now to answer questions. If you are interested in what I'm talking about, I'm going to put a link. You can just pull it up, go and look at it later if you want. We're already starting. And then what we're going to do is once we have 10 people signed up, this is brand new. Once we have 10 people signed up, we're going to pick the times according to the first ones to sign up. So lucky you get a vote. Okay, I'm going to put the link right here. Ask your questions. Thank you. It is my birthday. I am 55 today. Let's see. I was like, hey, y'all messing up my news feed's supposed to be all about this call today, and nobody can find my post because of all the happy birthday things. All right, I'm going to copy paste this. We just did this, by the way, so it's not going to be professional, but you can click on it and see what it's about. For those who are brand new to me, who's brand new, never met me, never heard of me, say me. I have a podcast. There's lots of free resources. I am brand new. Me. I'm nice. Where'd you guys come from? I have a YouTube channel, a free Facebook group, and a podcast and a book. Lots of free stuff that you can learn from and learn about my story, what got me here, how long I've been coaching. I'm not a new coach, by the way. Facebook just added you not too long ago. Welcome. All right. What are your questions about this? And Deborah, what is your awareness? How do you feel? And what do you want to know? Your question is above. Okay, hold on. Find the opportunity to teach is a competitive coaching. How is it? Oh, that's a great thing. Happy birthday. Do you help Deborah get to the actual root and understanding her problem? Yes. I call these breakthrough sessions. So in Self-Healing Masters, we do a breakthrough session once a month. I actually still have it on my website. How many... Well, let me just say, if you're a new coach, you should truly consider doing breakthrough sessions. I made my first $350,000 doing breakthrough sessions. Okay. I said, how do you wait? Sorry. Not do you. Okay. I feel like I'm weaving through, trying to find Regina's question. How does she not hang on to that belief and create a new one? So this is a 5-step process. You got to get present first. That's where the model and mindset and tapping and awareness comes in. So the first step is to get present, so that's when they tell the story. And then you factuate that. That's where you get the understanding. So you heard her. I asked her a lot of questions. I let her talk. We kind of dabbled in and out. I didn't have an agenda of like, listen, Deborah, I have 4 steps, CTFA. Can you just do what I ask you? I didn't do that because I've embodied that understanding. I don't need to. I do not need that process at all. The only reason I'm teaching it is because so many of you here are learning it. I won't say learning it. I don't think you all got what we got. I had been in Brooks World, like at the time when we only had 25 people in a room, years. I have been traveling back and forth to Dallas for years. I was in the live training. We had a lot of time for her to teach us this. You guys don't get that anymore. So anybody who graduated probably after 18 doesn't get it. It became an online process. Learn yourself. You don't get the coach training and practice and all the stuff. So what I see is the actual understanding of it. So just because you learn CTFAR or think, feel, act, you actually have to get that experience for yourself, like you receiving it. So in the process, once we have the understanding, then we have a next step on how to navigate around it. So that's a great question. So that tells me that you're already on to, hold on. Okay. So I got it. Now what do I do with it? Is that correct, Regina? What do I do with what I got? This was very painful for me, by the way. 2014, I yelled at Louise Hay in this, I was like, she kept saying, just change your thoughts, change your thoughts. And then here comes Brooke Castillo, change your thoughts, change your thoughts. I was like, I'm going to hurt somebody. Tell me what else to do. I was like, we have to dismantle it. I get stuck here with my clients. Yes. I'm all in the mind. Yes. Yes. There are more steps. And so I was like, so I have an advanced coach training. So who's here that's one of my coaches? Just put a thumbs up in the thing. And they want a practice play. Like we all want a practice. We want to continue practicing. And so I made the decision that I'm going to open a practice container, a very inexpensive, where we are going to bring in all sorts of modalities. We do holistic wellness. I'm a health coach. I'm a business coach. I'm a life coach. I'm a hypnotherapist, a massage therapist, an energy worker, healer, whatever you want to call it. I do craniosacral. I do a lot of stuff. What I did is integrated all of those together in 5 simple steps. Now I teach the 5 steps and I train coaches to go out there and use these 5 steps, this process. Now that I've got enough coaches, my coaches are going to help me teach it. So that's all part of the growth container and opportunity is this platform or this container for those who are in business is a lead gen. That is why it is so cheap. It's basically a paid free group. That's $97. You get practice every week. You learn all of these modalities. And then if you want to learn the actual framework and be trained in it, then that's the next step. That's after. You could literally just stay here for a few years and just make a ton of money on being an in-demand coach because you know how to coach. I feel such a relief. Thank you for offering. They continue to ask. And so I asked them, I was like, what if I just continue coach practice and feedback like at least once a month? And they were all like, don't leave me. Because you get the certification and now you're working with people and stuff starts happening and you don't have anybody to go mastermind with. Like, what do I do when my client says this? What do I do when they freeze? What do they do? What do I do when they lie to me? They check out. And what about when right. Okay. So you're on to it. So anyway, how many of you would be interested in I even bought the domain, My Coach Practice. And listen, there's not many domains available with the word coach in it. So there it is if you want to start. What I'm going to do is continue doing this as a lead gen. I will offer some for free. I will offer some for $27 and $47. How many coaches in this weekly session? Well, the great news for you, Regina, is you would be the first one to sign up. Deborah is doing 6 weeks advanced coaching with me. Are you doing the advanced coach? No, who is? Allison is. We have 4 people on these calls. Y'all, this is so brand new. You want to jump in right now. Like you want to be in it while it is a small group and while you get a lot of attention and focus. It's a no-brainer. If there is a question about $1,000 a year investment, I would really question if you want to be in business. Like, honestly, I'm saying that from the softest place, but my coaches already see this and say it. This is like, you're not going to learn how to coach in 6 months. You need experience, you need feedback, and you need someone who can take you to a variety of end games, because I work with a lot of trauma. That was me. And then through massage therapy and craniosacral and energy work, I learned about the nervous system. And then I really dove in deep into the NLP and hypnotherapy world. And I created a concept, which I will be presenting next year, that is called conversational hypnosis. They do not close their eyes. They do not count to 10. They do it exactly like you're going to watch me do in this coach training. Those who were on that call today at 12 o'clock, this is what you watched. It's a process, emotional processing technique combined with conversational hypnosis. So it doesn't scare people. You don't use that word. We just coach the subconscious so that we can get to the root cause, so we can flip it. And then we implant the new thought, the new belief, the new vision of what they want. And then we move into change the habit and behavior. It is a process. Does this make sense to everyone? Who has questions? Deborah, how are you feeling?
I just signed up for it.
She's like, I'm in. I want it all.
Yeah, I mean, I don't fully understand. I mean, I understand the premise. I was on that call at noon today and I saw it happen. I didn't understand what I was seeing. You know, now that you're talking about it, I didn't realize that's what you were doing. And, you know, I didn't know what to look for, but it really was pretty fascinating.
You think her world changed today?
Yeah.
Significantly. So raise your hand if you have a question. I'm going to bring you on to ask it because I can't stay preoccupied with the chat. If you have a question for me or for Deborah. So this is an opportunity to literally talk to clients. Do I need to be on camera? I would prefer it, but I'll let you on if not. I'm going to bring you on. I want to get some questions because that serves the group. It's so powerful when you can be in session and you can talk to the client and the coach, and I can say, this is what was going on. And Gina, you've been in some of my calls. You know how we do this. It's so powerful. You're not going to get to do this with your clients. Like, what are you feeling? How did that make you feel? Instead, they're just going to shut down and check out, and they're not going to come back to the calls. You'll see them wanting to quit early. They're not getting results. And they're beating themselves up because they don't feel safe to say what Deborah said to me. She would go back to her old habit and behavior, which is she would have just quit. And it would have been one more thing she signed up for that she didn't complete. And then she would have proved to herself that she
would have been more evidence.
That's it. That's it. It really is. It's just to have somebody to explain it to us. Okay, Gina, what is your question? And Regina, you'll go next.
I have a question on why you're coaching. Could the circumstance, because she says she's not doing what she signed up for, so could we have gone into like, what was it that holding her back, the moment that, like, what is it stopping her from?
Yeah, we definitely can. So this is for the sake of demo and time and trying to get everything in, but this session can, I mean, you can take her, it could go for weeks. So here's the thing. We can't get them to the end game unless their nervous system is regulated. But what we can do is chip away and pull the layers. You're also working with one of my coaches, right, Deborah? You're with me, you're with the coach. So she's going to move extremely fast. I guarantee you, she is not the same person she was 6 weeks ago already. She probably wouldn't have raised her hand 6 weeks ago. She probably wouldn't have come on for coaching today. She probably wouldn't have admitted that she was feeling inadequate and checked out and that she was scrolling. But let's ask her.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because it was really right after I felt that low point and felt checked out that things started changing, and wasn't even something that I consciously did. It was just like this process, and all of a sudden all the feelings were coming up, and I spent a good part of the night just so much processing, and woke up this morning. I woke up, I was really had very little sleep, and felt unbelievably energetic, like really ready to, it just felt very different.
So I'm going to come back to what you asked, Gina, which is about like, do we need to go and find the exact point and the when and the root? We do not. We can't. I mean, that is an option. But I've got like lots of experience in this. One thing that my client can count on with me, and I think anyone here can validate this, when they get to the point where it's all about what happened, that they're doing it because of what happened, I will cut. I mean, it's almost like I take the breast away. No more breastfeeding. It's over. Like done. I will cut it really quick because there's an addiction to that because they're getting attention for it. And we got to watch that. It's just like when we're dealing with chronic pain, I work with a lot of chronic pain and illness and disease that's in the body. And we always track it back to that first Band-Aid, the first day they got to stay home with grandma, the day they got taken to the hospital. Some kids felt love for the first time in that moment and they're hooked. And it's because we have that understanding of what trauma does and what it's called a secondary gain in the subconscious world. And I actually have been doing it long enough. Now I recognize it. So I'm like, actually, we can just go straight from here. I offer people all the time. I was like, I can delete your memories. They're like, oh no. I was like, they're the only thing causing you problems. They're like, no, I wouldn't be who I am. No, it's it's stopping you from being who you are. I was like, just hold on. We're going to, I have an exercise. They'll be done in 15 minutes. We're just going to extract them. They're like, oh my God. It's like very few people will go that. And it's because they're connected to it as their identity, but it's not. So in that case, that's when it really depends on the client in the case. I don't think it's going to hurt anyone. I just don't know if it's going to get them there faster. Kelly said I would go there. I did it. It is some kind of scary. Go ahead, Regina. What's your question?
Thank you. I think that exactly for the sake of time, I think that your program will probably answer my question. But what I was just wondering was, and I know you did that for demo, but that's where I kind of get stuck. For example, I had a client today who like just yells at her kids. She gets frustrated because they don't clean up and all this and that. And she wants them to want to clean up. So we got to the bottom, like, oh, I grew up that way. My mom, told me I sucked for not cleaning up, basically, and I'm like, okay, so we just need to change the awareness. And so when I was saying, when you said you got to stay there until they go deeper and like really attach to that, I'm like, oh, okay, and want to change that. I think that's where I get stuck, and maybe that's a longer conversation.
Yeah. And so I have a technique. Some of you, I think Dina and Deborah, y'all know it, like the 3-step, what we do, like it's it's the emotional processing technique. And so it would be staying in that discomfort. And then what will happen is it morphs and it changes. And so it's that trigger response. And then I would top onto, so think about coaching as layering. So I would get there for the awareness, for the emotions to process so that we can get to the imprint. I'm saying some really big words. I get that. And so we can change and pivot that imprint. And then we're instantly moving into mindset from there. And then we're going to seal the deal. We're going to plant the anchor, and then we're going to move into the habit and behavior. That's the process. But you really need to go through it. Like Deborah's now getting to the point where she's going through it. It's starting to make sense. But me telling it to your mind without you experiencing it is going to be harder for you to like hold on to and retain.
Right.
So my goal is for all of these coaches to experience it for themselves. So now when they're in the session, they're on autopilot. It's just going. Like there's no more it here. They're actually present with the client. And the only way to know if you're truly present and truly listening is if they were heard.
Okay.
Not because you listened, were they heard? Deborah was not heard at some points in this session. So I saw it and I went back. Do you see? So it's like really understanding the signs, the body language, like, okay. And I tell them this in the call, like I was like, watch what just happened. Go back and watch it. Like we're constantly just aware. It's like we're in a war zone and we're just looking for what's coming out behind the trees, what's behind the mountain, and so when you can understand that this is just physically, metaphysically, right? It's happening through the emotional body, in the subtle body, and then it's showing up in the material world on the body. It's very addictive training. Like I'm thinking of canceling my trip to Spain because I got a lot of new business coming through. I'm like, I don't want to leave. I love what I do. This is so much more
Yeah.
pleasurable than sitting on an island sipping a pina colada.
Yeah, got it. And thank you. Thank you for explaining that. Thank you for doing this, and happy birthday.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. Anybody else? I have to hop off. Sorry, I got 1 minute. I've got a call that I need to log into a different account for. All right. So I'll let you know if there's another free one. My thing I would say sign up and let's get started. Like seriously, just commit to it and get some help for yourself. You're welcome. If anyone has any questions, you can email me, kim@kimgilrery.com, about anything that we did here. Otherwise, go binge on the podcast. Everything I talk about, I've been laying out for 5 years. All right. Have a great day.